talked with many other think tanks from other organizations in Germany and abroad, with think tank funders and addressees. Over the past 2 years, we organized 2 co-creation workshops, 3 focus groups, several stakeholder interviews, and all that just to learn what are the challenges and opportunities that think tanks in Germany and abroad are facing today, both externally and internally. And we've heard many words on that today. We also asked them how the Think Tank Lab itself could be of support to tackle these challenges, what structures, what offer, what activities might actually add value. And we also asked think tankers what are their visions and dreams and ideas. We asked both think tank directors and senior managers, as well as early career staff and interns. We wanted to know what their dreams were when it comes to the future of think tanking as a profession, as a practice, and how we could maybe help us all get there. So the way the Think Tank Lab is set up right now, the way you can explore the 3 pillars of our work on the website, is the product of all of these conversations. It was not just thought up in our own office.
Exactly. Let me just maybe get right into there as well and explain to you what those 3 pillars actually are. I mean, the first pillar we call a community of practice. And I think looking back to some of the conversations that we had earlier in the panel discussions as well, the question came up about creating, or the need to create these safe spaces. And I think that's this community practice. That's what it's all about. We want to create a community where think tankers, think tank organizations can come together, exchange views, share experiences, have a safe space where they can learn from each other, maybe also discuss things that they think aren't going so well, things where they feel uncomfortable. So we will do this by having workshops, having working groups. We're going to have 4 events a year. This year, we still have 2 events coming up in the second half. And we'll also have a flagship event, which will be our annual Think Tank Lab conference. Now, turning to the second pillar is actually the Think Tank Lab School. We've realized that there is a lot of need also for think tankers to have opportunities for continuing education, continuing training, which at the moment is not really out there. And we want to change that by having the schools, which will run once a year. It has 3 modules, and there you'll get trainings and workshops on issues such as foresight, big data analysis. What role should big data play, artificial intelligence play when it comes to think tanks? We'll also have a study trip to Brussels or perhaps to London. So there's a big array of workshops and trainings that we're offering with the Think Tank School there. And last but not least is our toolbox. The toolbox is our third pillar. The toolbox is where all of the best practices, good practices, all the ideas, the policy innovation ideas that we get, the ways of working that we get, comes together and will be made publicly available for other think tankers and think tanks to use, so that we actually are able to spread this information and get this information out there. And of course, we also want all of you to get engaged with us and get the think tank community together and create some kind of a solidarity spirit as well. So if you want to get involved, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. I'll pass over to Claire again to say a bit more about what's coming up soon.
So what will we do in the next 6 months? As I said in the very beginning, you're invited to take a look yourself at the infographic that we have right next to the video stream to have a clearer picture of what is coming up until the end of this year. In July, we will launch 2 calls for applications for fellow think tankers and other stakeholders involved with think tanks to join 2 working groups. And in these working groups, we want to address 2 organizational challenges that were important to many of the participants of our focus groups in April. The first one is the question how we might foster diversity in German think tanks. Robin Niblett said it, many others mentioned it. Diversity is integral and foundational for innovation. So studies have shown again and again, unfortunately, that Western think tanks, including German ones, are far from being reflective of the diversity in our society, both in our workforce and on our conference panels. So in this working group, we want to bring those together from different organizations who care for diversity and inclusion to analyze what stands in the way of more diversity in German think tanks, what good practices might be out there, and what can we do together to move ahead on this. We will work together with a consultant who has advised many research institutions on diversity management, and also use elements from design sprint methodology to address this question holistically. In working group 2, we will address the question how we might improve the onboarding experience for new think tankers. In our research, we've learned that onboarding new colleagues is a challenge for many organizations. And Roderick mentioned that before. Several colleagues shared that they struggled to navigate the think tank business and find their role when they first started working at a think tank. And especially smaller organizations find it difficult to provide a structured onboarding process. So in this second working group, we want to get all of those together who want to change this and co-create a starter kit, so to say, for new think tanks. So we don't know yet how this starter kit will look like, what form it might take. So this will all be up to that working group. So both of these working groups will run from August until December. And we are, of course, aware, as you are as well, I'm sure, that these are very big challenges that we won't be able to solve once and for all in 5 months' time. But we want to start the conversation, and we want to get those together who are passionate about these topics. And we are curious what difference we actually can make in such a limited time frame if we bring colleagues from different think tanks together. In September, the think tank school that Roderick mentioned will open its doors to the pilot cohort. With the think tank school, we are creating a training offer for think tankers working in a research department of German think tanks with 2 to 5 years of relevant professional experience. And as Roderick said, this is a kind of offer that we created because we saw that especially smaller organizations, but also bigger ones, find it difficult to provide in-house training because of limited core funding or because of limited size of the institutions. So we decided to create an offer to pool this and invite everyone to join us. The school will run from September to December, and it contains 2 face-to-face training modules in Berlin, 1 study trip to Brussels, inshallah, and self-organized work on individual policy projects and peer coaching. We hope that you will learn how to understand real-life policy processes better and how to understand stakeholder needs, how to develop and communicate policy recommendations in line with many of the things we've heard today from our panelists, how to raise funds for policy projects, or at least some tips and advice on the way. And of course, you will be able to build your own professional network as a school attendant with both policymakers and fellow think tankers. The call for applications for the think tank school will also be sent out in July. And for those of you who'd like to join the conversation, but don't have that much time to devote to either of the working groups or the school, you are much welcome to join one of our Think Tank Impulses events, which are planned for September and November. And there, as Roderick said, we will discuss current trends in think tanking, such as the role of artificial intelligence in think tank work.
And last, but certainly not least, as I mentioned, do get engaged with the Think Tank Lab, do get in contact. There are different ways you can get in touch. If you only have a minute, get on the website, drop us a line by mail, say, look, I'm interested, or sign up for our mailing list. If you got a couple of more minutes, maybe also go to Twitter and follow us there. If you have an hour, get in touch and say you want to join us for one of our workshops or one of our working groups. The calls are coming out in a couple of weeks' time, and then you'll be able to sign up for them. And if you have even more time, you can, of course, apply for the Think Tank School as well. There's lots of different opportunities to get engaged with us. We want to get this community started. We're really happy that you all joined us for this event today. And I'm excited to move forward with the Think Tank Lab. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our panelists of today and to our keynote commentator, who have all shared their insights and their expectations and observations from their various perspectives from inside and outside of think tanks. Thank you to all of you in the audience for the thought-provoking questions, for introducing yourselves in the chat, for being here and starting this initiative together. And thank you, of course, to the whole Think Tank Lab team and events team who made this event possible today, including our event engineers, web designers from Mosaic, and our friends at Soapbox Design Agency who created the great animations and infographic for us today. Thank you all for launching the Think Pink Lab together with us here today. We're looking forward to stay in touch. This is just the beginning, and to continue or start collaborating with all of you in the upcoming 3 years. See you soon.